So I want to discuss what your top absolutes are when it comes to disease prevention.
Well, there's a lot of things that you can do. I think like what you touched on at the beginning, which was mitochondrial function and ATP production. And I think it really comes down to that because when you can make cellular energy and you can clear the exhaust, the oxidation that happens as a result of that, and if you have enough of that going on, you just will not get sick. Like that, the primary cause of all disease is the inability to make energy in the mitochondria, and complex 4 happens in cytochrome C oxidase. This is where you create ATP. And if you can do that and clear the exhaust, you have the energy to deal with all of life's stressors. So I think it comes down to like a metabolic approach when it comes to making the energy that you need to make and then clearing the exhaust and getting rid of the toxins and avoiding the things that are stressing you out that are preventing you from making that energy. So energy production is really the name of the game when it comes to all of this. And so there are tons of things from a lifestyle, environmental kind of aspect that prevent the production of ATP. And one of the major things I'm learning in the last probably 5 years is the role of iron. Iron is really one of those things where not a lot of people talk about, but the excess iron is causing metabolic rust inside of our body. So if you look out at like some metal outside, you'll see if it's exposed to oxygen, it's going to get rusty over time. And that rust is happening inside our organs, our liver, our colon, our intestines, our thyroid, all of this. And it's because of the iron fortification project. Thank you, government. So since 1941, they've been adding iron filings into our food. It's ferrous iron, and that iron is metabolically causes metabolic dysregulation. And so what happens is that we're only supposed to be consuming about 1 milligram of iron per day. That's all our body needs. And the other 24 milligrams should be recycled via the reticuloendothelial system. So that system is based on a series of enzymes and different minerals to be able to keep iron in flow. So iron's supposed to be bound to hemoglobin to deliver oxygen, then to go to the mitochondria, and then ultimately end up in the bone marrow to make new red blood cells or whatever else it needs to make. Instead, the iron that we're consuming is not being moved throughout the body, and it's storing in your liver. So a lot of people say, I've got fatty liver disease, I've got liver cancer, I've got liver whatever else. It's really an excess of iron that's stored in your liver. Because the food that we eat, sometimes people, I think I was reading something recently, the average person consumes at least, I think, 20 or more milligrams of iron a day. Wow. And by doing that, you're causing massive amounts of oxidation because unfortunately we have to breathe oxygen. So oxygen combined with iron creates what they call the Fenton reaction. And that is inside our body, it's metabolic rust. It's a loss of electrons, it's oxidation, it's inflammatory, and it causes free radical damage and reactive oxygen species and all these things, which is why we have to do so much work on doing antioxidants because we're loaded with iron and we breathe oxygen. So it's really sad that they've been adding these iron filings to our food. If you go on YouTube and do a search like iron in cereal, I think it is, or something like that, or I think it's heavy metal cereal, you'll find a video showing this, and it's killing us. And that in my belief is what's causing a lot of the metabolic dysregulation and energy production issues people are having because they're loaded up with way too much iron.
So are you talking about all foods, vegetables, and meat products as well, or is it just processed packaged foods that you're talking about?
Well, it's almost all processed packaged food. And unfortunately, like a lot of the vegan kinds of food has lots of iron in it because the acid rain in the hydrological cycle it's changing the pH of the soil, which is liberating way too much iron from the soil into our food and vegetables and things like that. So there's actually iron in, like if I was a raw food vegan for 7 years. And so I was just loading up on iron the whole time. And so it seems to be ubiquitous. It's everywhere. It's in the water we drink, especially well water. It's just in most foods, and especially like I was watching something today in coconut milk. 17 grams of iron in a popular brand of coconut milk.
Wow.
Like, why?
So it's not necessarily one specific type of iron. It's whether you're getting it in your foods or you're getting it in an iron supplement. All iron's equal. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's my understanding there's multiple forms of iron. I know they're adding 9 different types of iron to our food system through the Iron Fortification Project, and all 9 of those types are carcinogenic, have been classified as carcinogenic. And I know there's the ferrous form of iron and the ferric form of iron. And there's things that you can do to lower your iron absorption, and get that reticuloendothelial system, RES system in your body working so that iron's allowed to get rid of this, get out of the cell and to go be delivered via transferrin and all this kind of stuff. But and there's certain substances like methylene blue will actually convert the ferrous iron to ferric iron, which is a little bit less dangerous. But it's easier to remember that there's 9 different types of iron added to our food supply, all of which are carcinogenic. So we're overloaded with iron, and the only way to get rid of iron is through blood loss. That's it. Unfortunately. So that's why I've made blood donation I do that every 2 months now, because with one 15-minute blood donation, you could get rid of around 250 milligrams of iron, which is amazing because, I don't know how much you would get if you're the average person. That's only maybe 10 days worth of eating, right? If you're eating 20 milligrams a day or 25 days or whatever it is. So it's really important to be cognizant of the amount of iron we're consuming, in any food we eat. So it's
This is a really uplifting conversation. So you need to give us a little hope other than blood donation. I understand
Mhm.
that's the best way. Sauna therapy, detoxification in any other way? Is there any other binding material that can carry the iron out of the body on a daily basis?
Yeah, there's some things that you could do that are really good, like lactoferrin, which can be found in colostrum or dairy. That has a really high iron binding protein quality to it. There's other things that you can do. Retinol is really important as well. Sauna therapy does get rid of some iron, which is good. And there's a lot of iron chelators. I think there's one called IP6, which I think I forget what exactly that is, but there's also a supplement that I came across recently that's an iron chelator as well. I forget the name of it, but there's lots of iron chelators. Charcoal is another one. And so I think that the mothership with the offloading of iron is going to be blood donation,
Right.
but activating the system in your body that keeps iron flowing, that's a whole separate part of what you want, because you want to pull that iron out of your liver, out of your brain, which is causing dementia, brain cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. All of this stuff has an iron relationship to it, and so you want to open those enzymes up, and copper and retinol seem to be what allow for that to happen.